Hey guys, it's Angela here again at the chicken coop, and today we are out here in the garden and in the greenhouse, and we're starting to plant the potatoes that I chitted on my Facebook page. So if you want to, you can go back and look at that page, and it'll just kind of show you what I did, and I'll talk about what I did. And I've got some helpers here today. You might not be able to see them. Let me see. Can you say hi?
Hi.
That's my grandbaby. That's Jarrett. He is my helper today, and his little brother is my helper. So, just wanted to talk to y'all, and let's get gardening. Alright, so we're in my greenhouse, and these are my potatoes that I had chitted. I had put a little Facebook post out. These are store-bought potatoes, and I put it out on my Facebook group and lots of homesteading websites. And there was a lot of comments saying, don't grow these, they won't grow potatoes, they won't chit because they've been sprayed with something that won't let them grow. Well, obviously they're growing because I have chits on all of them. But these were store-bought potatoes that were going to go to waste. And with what all's going on in our economy and everything right now, I just wanted to show people one way that they could grow potatoes. And yes, are seed potatoes disease-free and everything's perfect? Yes. But, life is not perfect. Our situation right now is not perfect. So I wanted to show people a frugal homesteading way to grow potatoes. And then I also got lots of other comments from people saying that this is exactly what they do every year and they get loads of potatoes. So, like everything in life, especially true with gardening, there are 1,000 opinions of how you do things. So I'm not saying this is the right way, the wrong way. It's just the way that I'm going to do it this year, because I just feel like we need to share some of these things with people that have no clue about gardening and no clue of how to even begin this. And I guarantee you, people in life have had a potato chit in their kitchen and didn't realize that they could grow a potato for that. I had people that actually did not know that that they thought that this chit would grow to a plant and it would produce one potato. Like, they didn't even know that one plant would produce multiple potatoes. So that's what we're dealing with in the reality of the world, is that people don't even know how all this works. So this is, and I'm not making fun of those people. Until you are taught, you do not know. And there's no, none of us were born knowing this information. We had to be taught by someone, somewhere, a grandparent, a book, a magazine. Somebody had to teach us this. And that's what this video is about, just teaching you a basic way, survivalist mode, how to grow potatoes. So that was kind of my little speech for today. So let's get on with planting and have some fun in our garden, okay? Hey y'all, this is Angela here at the chicken coop. I've got my husband Lad and my grandbabies, because we're coronavirus quarantine over here, and Mama and Papa T are watching the babies. So we are going to work on planting the potatoes that I had shown a post on my Facebook page about chitting potatoes. So he's going to go get us some compost, and we will show y'all what we're going to do with these potatoes. So be back in a minute. Alright, so here are two of the buckets. We're going to start off with these two first and see how many potatoes we have and how far they will go. But these are just some, this is an old landscape bucket that already has drainage holes in it, and this is a syrup tub bucket that the bottom already was broken out of, so we don't even have to worry about putting any holes in them. And then we've just picked a spot here on the side of our garden that we're going to put them in. And we also have two other buckets, but we haven't drilled holes in them yet because we're just waiting to see how many potatoes we have to plant. And we're going to fill these up with a little bit of compost and potting soil. Now this is our own compost that come out of our compost pile. It still has leaves and stuff in it, but it's pretty well composted. So, you know, right now with the coronavirus and everything going on, we're trying to not get out, so we're not going out and buying potting soil and everything. This is planting.
Wait, there's a grub in there.
There was a grub in there?
Yeah, right there.
Well, get it out and go feed to the
No,
chickens.
I'm not getting the grub out.
Are you scared of a little old grub? There's a big old worm in our compost pile. So, we're just putting a little shallow layer of dirt in here, of soil, compost in the bottom of these buckets. And then we're going to put the potatoes in there and then cover them up. And then as the potatoes grow and the stems get longer, you put more and more compost around them. You'll pick up the worm, but you won't pick up a grub.
Feed to the chicken.
We have had non-stop rain almost for 2 weeks. It would stop for a little while and start back up, but everything would just be so wet. It's still wet out here today. But we just decided we've got to get things done. My daughter's normally off on Mondays, but she's gone to the grocery store. And we definitely don't want the kids exposed at the grocery store. So we have the kids so that she can do her own shopping and keep them safe and away from exposure to everybody. So they're out here playing with Mama and Papa T and for a little while and helping us get our garden going. I've got tomato starts in there that are, some of them probably 2 foot tall. I've got to get them in the ground. I've got to get this stuff weeded. November 1st I broke my arm, so the stuff that I normally do to keep my garden from being overrun with weeds, like I put leaves and stuff on top of everything, did not get done, and oh my gosh, my garden is just covered in weeds. It's terrible. All right, so here's the bucket. It's got probably about 5 or 6 inches of soil in there, and I put some potatoes in there, and just put 5 in there. I think that'll be plenty. And then we're going to cover it up with a little, about 2 or 3 inches worth of dirt, and then as the potatoes grow, we'll keep putting more dirt in there and adding more dirt. So we're going to do that to the other bucket too. And that's called hilling up when you do that. When you add dirt around the stems, that's called hilling up. That's probably good in that one. Well, I hadn't seen one of those today.
Do you have claws under there, like right here?
Alright, that's probably enough. Alright. Our cat is over there by the bluebird box, and the bluebirds are dive bombing that cat to try to get her away from their nest. See if I can zoom in. We have to watch her. She's like a dog. She loves to come and hang out with us in the garden, or wherever we're at, she's right there. And so she's normally not over here and doesn't mess with it, but when she's over here with us in the garden, she likes to mess with them. But they are dive bombing her. They do not like her being by their nest. This is baby Rexton. He's not quite a year old yet. He will be in April. And you can see his dada is his favorite word. Dada, mama. Mama, 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 dada, dada, dada. And then I have my other grandson over there with Papa T. His name is Jarrett, and he is 5 years old. So we have been doing some homeschooling kindergarten over here too. All right, here's our compost pile. What my husband does is, well, he has a sweeper that's on the back of his riding lawnmower that rotates and picks up all the leaves, and then he just piles it in this pile up against the fence. And we also add our chicken manure when we clean out our chicken coop. And every once in a while he turns it, but it's not anything like on a big regular basis or anything. He uses his tractor to turn it. But that is the kind of compost that we get out of there. Really dark, rich material. And when we started this, our compost pile used to just be this corner right here. And then little by little, we just seen what great soil it produces. So we have expanded our compost pile it's till this point right here. And this is our most worked compost on this end. And as it decomposes, my husband, keeps turning it and pushing it towards this end of the compost pile. So he starts, he'll turn it as he goes around in here, and then when we need to add more compost or more leaves, we always add to that end down there. We always add our chicken manure and our clean outs down there at the end. So by the time it has gone through all this, we get to this, which is completely composted. And it just is just wonderful soil. I'm going to show you my tomato or the bed that we're going to plant tomatoes in this year, and just show you we just filled it up, topped it off with some compost. This is a bed that we have, and my husband just filled it, topped it off with compost. I have some of my ground eggshells that we're going to put in here as well when we plant our tomato plants. But this is where some tomato plants are going to be planted this year. So that's what we're fixing to do, is plant some tomato plants. Because they are getting so tall, I'm going to have to really bury these deep. But they need to go in the ground. They are really tall. The variety that's going to go in here is called Purple Russian, and it was a free seed packet from Baker Creek last year. I just didn't have time to mess with it last year, so I decided to do it this year. Alright, so we're planting tomatoes, and these are tomatoes I grew from seed, but as you can see, they're getting pretty long and lanky. So I'm going to show you what you do for that, okay? So you just pinch off all these little stems in here, and we're going to dig a trench. You can dig a really deep hole, but this is kind of a shallow bed, so we're going to dig a trench. Okay. And then these are some of my eggshells. I've done a video on what I do to save my eggshells, and I'm just going to put a sprinkling of that in there. Calcium is good for tomatoes because it helps for blossom end rot. So I'm just going to lay this tomato in this trench. And just plant it. And then I have a nice short little tomato, which is good because with the wind and everything it won't break off because the stem is still kind of small, and it will help all that stem that's buried in there will actually produce roots coming out of the stem, so it'll help the tomato have a really good root system. So that's how you plant a tomato. Sometimes people don't like to see tomato plants that are all kind of leggy, but it doesn't hurt tomato plants. It's easy way to fix it. All right, today's the day that we start moving our baby chicks that we hatched. I did a video on that as well. We got lots of things going on today. We've just been stuck in the house. We haven't been able to do it. This is an old dove cage that we had, and as the birds get bigger, we put them in here to kind of grow up before we put them in the big coop. Go help Papa T.
I want to hold one.
Go help Papa T. So we are getting the birds out of here, and they're going to be big birds now and go into the big coop. But these were the chicks that I hatched. Garrett's not too happy, but he's helping Papa T. Sometimes he's scared because the rooster has gotten after him before, but he's happy today.
Because not a long time ago, he pet me.
Yeah. All right, go take him to Papa T.
Dory's in there.
Yeah, she'll get out. Our pen is a wet mess, but we just pulled a whole wheelbarrow full of weeds out of the garden. So the only good thing about weeds is you can feed them to your chickens, and they absolutely love them. Yesterday, we let them out of the coop for a little while. We normally do that, not as much when we're gardening because we don't want the chickens to get in the garden, but it's just been so wet and so rainy. There's just no way around it being a mess. So that's our chickens, and they're loving their greens that they just got.
Well,
Hey y'all, just want to show y'all an update on my winter sowing. I did a winter sowing video, and this is my parsley that I did for winter sowing, and look how good it turned out. And so I got a tub ready, and I'm fixing to plant this up, but I just wanted to show y'all, and as I get to each container, I'll kind of show y'all if it was did well or if it was kind of a bust. So this is the first one. This is my parsley. All right, here's my Swiss chard. My spinach so far, I had 2 buckets of spinach. They did not do well. I don't know if it was just too wet, but my Swiss chard, look how good it looks for winter sowing. I'm really happy with that. So we're gonna get this planted up.